You've got the lovely Zoom voice letting you know that now we are on and live. So welcome to everybody. I hope that spring isn't tearing down on you too terrifically. It felt like a terrific rush this last week, maybe more so than other semesters. But I also hope that now that we've successfully done a year in COVID teaching, that you're all feeling more comfortable working online and using the tools that we have online that are available to us. What I wanted to focus on today is what we're calling next level Canvas. A year ago, I did sort of a basic overview of how to use Canvas. Ironically, before we all realized that we would be living on Canvas. And so what I wanted to do is to try to bring in some really instructional design tools, things that might help you create a more welcoming and connecting space for students in Canvas. For some of you, this will probably be review, and some of the tools may be very familiar to you. Canvas Studio is my one new cool tool that we have access to, so I want to spend some time on that as well. But this is our agenda for the day. First, just looking at building content and content pages. One of the things that I'm really looking forward to encouraging faculty in doing is building content more intentionally. So we'll talk about chunking your content so that it's a bit more digestible for students. And then we'll talk about how you can create things that maybe are a little bit more visually engaging through embedding images and embedding video. And then that will be our segue over to using Studio and talking about the different recording options that are available through Studio, how to caption, and how to add a quiz. I have been using Studio for 2 semesters now with my classes. And I really, really love it as a tool. So I take on every bit of being the Studio sales rep, even though we're not selling it. It's already in your Canvas instance. But I really find it to be a fantastic way to create content for students and engage them through the content that I've created. So to that end, I intend for today to be interactive. So I am asking you to please open up a page or a browser that you can access, log in to Canvas. So I want you actively in our Canvas instance. And please do log into the Citrus Canvas, so into the one that we're using on campus. Some of you may have a free Canvas account. But Studio is not something that's available in every Canvas instance. You need to have access to Canvas through Citrus. And then you can either open a concluded course, or if you have a course this spring that you don't mind practicing a little bit in, you can do that as well. It's just a space where you feel comfortable working. I'm going to walk you through creating a content page. So I want you to be able to do that, and then to play with Studio. So it might be safest if you have a course from fall that you can still open up, or if you taught in winter and you have one of those courses, to go ahead and open one of those, and work in there. That way you're not affecting something that students are going to be actively looking at tomorrow. It's just a little bit safer space to play. So it may mean that you're going to have to do a bit of toggling back and forth between our Zoom presentation and your own browser. You can reduce the view that I've got for you down to essentially just a bar. If you go into the upper right-hand corner, you should see something that says View Options, and you can just exit full screen. If you ever want to come back to a full screen view, just double-click on the Zoom bar, and that will reopen our screen. So if I'm doing a demo of something and you want to see it in larger form, that's how you can go back and forth. So there was a question about a recording. Yes, I am recording. I was asked to do that by the Fly Committee, and I believe it's going to be hosted wherever the Flex meeting archives are going to be hosted. So this is being recorded so that people can review it later. And the question about if you've made a change in the class, you shouldn't have a notification go out to students if you create a new page. You don't need to publish it while you're working with me today. You can just save it. But usually students will be notified if you create an assignment or you add something in that sense. So that is why I'm suggesting if you have a concluded course that you can use, that's just a little bit safer bet. Those courses are closed to students once the semester ends. They can't go back. All right, so hopefully you've got a browser open and a space. I wanted to talk first with everyone just about why content pages. I know that one of the things that we are guilty of in online ed is using a lot of jargon. So if I am using jargon, like if content page means nothing to you, please throw that into the chat and let me know. Hopefully now that we've all been working in Canvas, you're aware that you can think of it as like a box. Probably the more accurate description would be that it's a canvas, something that you paint on. But I tend to think of it as something that holds a lot of information. It holds files, it holds quizzes, it holds assignments, and that all of those can be given to students through the module tool. The module is how Canvas really envisioned students accessing material. If you give students assignments, they will go straight to the assignments. I usually hide those from my students and make them go through modules. And that allows me to use content pages to organize the material. I can give students an overview page. I can introduce a video that I want them to watch. I can put images and have them answer questions or consider questions all on one page. So a content page is an important tool inside of Canvas that helps you organize content. And you can build a lot of really rich elements into a content page. The second reason why a content page is helpful or useful is that it can assist students with navigation. If you think of things from the student perspective, opening up a course and seeing a whole bunch of file links that maybe you have to download or try to access can be confusing. And content pages can provide those directions to students. It can say, below are some PowerPoints that you should review ahead of our class meeting. Please click on the link to view them or download them, however you've chosen to set that up. But you can create a way to assist students with their navigation. Another important element about a content page is that it renders very cleanly on a mobile device. And while in online ed, we will always say, if you're taking an online course, having a computer is a good step towards a more successful outcome. We know that the reality is a lot of students are doing all of their work and they are accessing all of their content on their phones. And content pages, unlike a file or a Word document, will adjust to the screen that the student is looking at. So it will give them a more mobile, friendly view of your content. And then lastly, content pages allow you to introduce the content. It allows you to actually have the instructor presence. That's so important in regular and effective contact with students. It's showing your instruction and your role in the class. So that is some of the reasoning behind why we have or why we recommend using content pages. Things that you can do in building your content page to facilitate how students interact with your content is tied to one, engagement, but also secondly, accessibility. So using headings, using horizontal lines, embedding images, and embedding video are all things that you can do to help to more clearly direct and instruct students and hopefully engage them in what they are seeing and what they are learning from you. So with these tools called out, what I'd like to do is switch my share, and I'm going to take you to an OE shell. Let's see. Actually, do this. Come right here. This is just an online education materials shell that I'm showing you now. Hopefully my screen switched and you're all seeing something that says OE materials. It has the Citrus College banner across the top. I can get a thumbs up that we're good seeing this.
Yes, I see it.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay.
Well, good.
Thank you. This is a page. What I do in all of my courses is I create a home page that students land on. You have the opportunity in any course to choose your home page. And if you have your video bar, it may be covering the far right-hand side of the website. But there's a list of items. It says course status, and then there's import existing content, so forth. The third button down is choose a home page. And when you choose a home page, you're picking essentially where students are going to enter your course. A lot of times the default is set to modules. It can go to an assignment list. You can have it land on your syllabus. I prefer to create my own page. So I have a content page that I use for having students access the course content. And when I'm starting my class, I always have a welcome. I usually have my own profile picture. I have a little bio, information that might be helpful, and then directions on where to get started.
Sonia,
Generally, yes.
I think Rob has a question in the chat.
Oh, thank you. I can go grab that. There was a question just about if you make any changes to an active course, then your students potentially will get a notice that you've made a change, which is why I'm recommending, again, that you play in a course that's been concluded.
Actually, I did have that question, but also when you select that home page, initially it says there's not any page. It says you have to create one.
Right.
I found it a little tricky to do that. I thought maybe I don't know if you could walk people through it so they know how to do it initially.
Yeah, that's what we'll do.
I saw
right now.
you already had homepage noted, right?
I did. I'll take you over into a module. And I'm just going to do the work right in here. If you've never created a module in your Canvas shell, it's not difficult to do. You click the blue button that says Add Module, and then it will start creating pages for you. Or it will create those modules. You can title them. So I've titled the module Flex 2021. And then to add content to your module, you click that little plus sign. So again, it's this plus sign that's right over here. If you click on that, you have a box of what you want to add, and you can just go to Add Page. If you have not created any pages, the only option you should see is New Page. And if you click on New Page, it gives you the option to title your page. So anticipating our program today, I had created an overview page. And that's just sort of a good way. You can either work on creating a welcome page. If you don't have one, you can work on creating a unit overview page. You can create any page you want. This is just practice. You can type practice page into this box. And then once you've titled your page, you will click Add Item. What you should get then is your title with something blank underneath it. And to start to edit your page, you go to the upper right-hand corner and click on Edit. So on that last slide, before I moved into this shell, I called out use of headings. For accessibility purposes, when a student needs assistive technology to see a page, that technology is going to read the different elements of the page. So if a student is using a screen reader, the screen reader will say heading 1, or your title, and they'll say overview. When you start to type, when you title the content on your page, it's always good to select heading 2. So I have welcome to Next Level Canvas. This is the title for today's agenda. And this whole piece of text is listed as a heading 2. Once you finish that heading 2 and you hit return, it will automatically switch to paragraph or body text. So Canvas is anticipating that once you've put a heading, that you're going to start filling content that is no longer a title, that you're actually going to start putting the body underneath that title. So I just replicated today's agenda in this overview page. And then I wanted to create a break. So at the end of the agenda, there's this gray horizontal line. And that sort of creates a visual break for students in terms of content. It lets them know that one section has ended and that there's another that they can turn to look to. And now in the new rich content editor that Canvas has, if you click on the tab that says Insert, it gives you the option of adding a horizontal line, which is a really nice way to break sections on a page. It helps students keep track of their place as they're reading. It can make a lot of text, if you have a text-heavy page, a little less intimidating to students, but it's a much easier way to break up your content than in the earlier form of the rich content editor. So that horizontal line is something that you can just add, which is what I did here. And then I put a new heading, a heading 3 for resources. That's letting, again, a student who is relying on assistive technology know that this is a subheading. And then I have another list that's back in that paragraph text. Embedding images has also gotten quite easy. So when I was working on this example, I wanted to find an image and I went back to that insert. And you have options for images. You can upload a file that you have. If you already have images contained inside your course, you can pick from one of those. Oh, excuse me, and user images. These are images that you have added to your own file count. So course images are only contained inside the shell of the course that you're working in. Under your own account, you have a files button. If you've added images to your file, you can access those there. But one of the things I really like about the new upgrade for Canvas is that when you go to upload image, you can choose from your computer, or you can use Unsplash, which is a really wonderful Creative Commons resource. So things here are free to use. You're not violating copyright by pulling these images off. And they have beautiful images. So I just wanted tools. And then it gives you a whole host of pictures that you can choose from. And you can see the one that I picked right here. It tells you the name of the photographer, so you can actually attribute the creator of the image on your page. And so you have that as an option.
A quick question.
Yeah.
Eleanor wanted to know if we could increase the thickness of the horizontal line.
You can. It requires switching over into HTML and changing the pixel count. So that's next level Canvas when we start getting into coding. But you can go in and you can play with HTML code.
Okay.
And then there was also a question about your storage in your Canvas courses. If you have run out of space, you can send a message to Chong and he will help you with that. So Chong Tran is somebody who is are godsend when it comes to tech for Canvas at Citrus. I do not know how the poor man ever gets away from his email, but he does respond pretty quickly. All right. So I'm going to cancel out of this. So what I'm essentially doing is taking some information. You have your title, you have your headings, there's that visual break of a horizontal line, you have an image, something that you can use to try to, again, visually engage students with the page. It's another nice break in content. It helps illustrate and provides a different way to communicate to students. So I'm going to pause for just a moment and see if there are questions, anything that you would like me to go back over in terms of building a content page.
Senya, you have the tool image justified in the lower right corner.
Yes.
Was there a way that you did that?
Yes. This is my standard easy trick. You can actually, again, go in and use HTML code to pad an image, which means that you're essentially setting a buffer between that image and text. But my cheat is to call out the image. I'm sorry, I've got so many boxes. So hopefully you can see that faint blue line around the image. And I just went over to this icon for justify. And once the image was highlighted, I clicked it over so it was justified. You can switch it. So now that's justified to the left, justified to the left, to the center, or to the right. And so that's just sort of my quick way to get an image so that it's not breaking my text, but moving alongside my text.
That was much easier than I expected.
This is that's the easy way. The HTML code I'm still working on. It's the next language I'm learning. I've decided it's trickier, but that's sort of an easy way to get that done.
The horizontal line, the way I created him last year, I just went into Photoshop, created a horizontal line, and you just upload it and you put them in. It's real simple.
Yeah, the thing that you want to make sure that you're doing then is that you're also, because that'll be recognized in terms of accessibility as an image. And so you then want to make sure you're saying it's a decorative image so that the screen reader isn't confused by that. Yeah. I should probably, just in terms of formatting a page, so the horizontal line, sort of breaking up information, are there any questions about that?
There is a question about removing a QuickTime player recording from a page.
And I see that, is that maybe when we get to video, that I can answer a little bit more clearly. I usually just either, if I can't get it to delete, I go in and I find, again, the HTML code and remove it there. So you just sort of have to find the way that it's coded in your page with HTML, and you can delete that out. So that's a little bit more complicated. The QuickTime player, I don't use much. I'm surprised that it's sort of stuck on a page. Again, anything that you highlight and delete, it should work like a Word document. You should be able to remove that.
Senya, can
Yes.
can I please show you how I add my homepage? Because I wanted to do it. I didn't want to do modules, and I had to figure it out on my own. I just want to see if you think there's anything wrong with the way I did. I'd like to be able to share my screen, and I think I need your
Permission to share the screen. Before you do that, I'm just going to point out right up here on those three dots, I always call them the breadcrumbs. If you've created a welcome page and you want that to be your front page, your home page, if you click this little button with the bookmark, that will make it a home page for you. So you can do that right from the page that you've designed. You can also select your home page or your front page by going to your pages option in the course menu and making that change there.
That's essentially part of the step. That's part of the step that I did.
Before you move on,
Yeah.
does the photographer's information down at the bottom
Yes.
come with when you bring in the image?
Right. So I was actually, before we go on to home pages or anything like that, I was going to come back to this page. to the end. So if I come back and I want to embed another image, just to show everyone how the Unsplash works. So let's say I like this photo by Bruce Mars. I can select this. And if I come down and scroll to the bottom of the page, it gives me an opportunity to provide the alt text. So I can say, happy man standing in front of blue wall. So now I have my alt text in place. Usually when you click here, it should give you an opportunity to grab the attribution. I'm sorry, I don't really want to be on this page. So when I grabbed that other image, I was able to just get the link for the artist and add that. So now when I come to this page, I've got this happy fellow here on my page. If I grab the image, it gives me image options. I'm sorry, I've got so many boxes open. And if I don't like the size, I can come over here and change the aspect ratio. And now he won't be quite so large on the page. I'm going to cancel out of this for just a second. Come back to this page. I saw that somebody wanted, again, just an explanation of how I was able to justify the tools to the right. And again, to do that, I grabbed the image, and then in the rich content editor, I went over to the justification tab, and I just made sure that it was clicked for right justification. And it keeps switching me. All right.
This,
How
Sonia,
were you able to type on the left next to the picture?
So what I did is I created my text first. So I got my text into the page, and then I knew I wanted the picture to line up with my resources. So once the text was there, I clicked on resources. I added the picture, and then I justified it to the right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is it okay if I show you what I did to see if there's anything wrong with what I did? Are you any problems you might foresee?
Before, if you don't mind, Rob, can we do that at the end of the session?
Okay.
I'll take a look at it then.
Okay.
Just in terms of getting to some of the other embed tools that people have available.
Yeah, sure.
I wanted to save time
Yeah,
for
sure.
that.
No worries.
Thank you. So similarly, if you want to add video to your course, back in that same insert, you have a media option. You can upload or record media. You can use course media, so media that you've already recorded for this class, or your own files. So it's the same basic rules that we've seen for using images. The other option is to come over to this little tool that looks like a plug. This is for external tools. And here Canvas Studio is highlighted. But if you come down and you have a 3C Media account, if you've been putting your Zoom lectures into 3C Media to have them captioned, you can grab those lectures from 3C Media. You can go to Films on Demand, so our own library database. So if there's a film on our library database that you'd like to put on a page, you can add that here. You can come down to YouTube, and you can grab a link from YouTube or search YouTube and embed a video that way. And I like this option because, again, instead of a student coming to a link to a video with no introduction or explanation, a content page allows me to say, this is a movie about this topic. We are watching it because it relates to this part of this week's material. these are the questions that I want you to be thinking about. Here's how you're going to apply this video to your assignment this week. It allows me to introduce it just as if I were teaching my class. I would never walk into a classroom, turn off the light and put in a video and not say anything to students. A content page gives you that same opportunity to introduce. So there are two ways to introduce media. You can think of that insert tool as being your stored files. So maybe videos you've already created that you have in your own, on your own hard drive or your own computer. The external tools being things that you've created or that you've found through other resources. And again, Canvas Studio is highlighted, but 3C Media is there, Canvas Studio, Films on Demand, and YouTube. These are all really nice ways to add a video into your class. So you can, again, if you want to go into YouTube, if I want you all to watch a video about industrialization, then I can come and it'll search just as if I were searching in YouTube. And you have the option to embed, to make it small, medium, or large. And I usually choose medium so that it sort of fits in a page nicely. But it's, again, a really simple way to bring video content in to your course, and then students can watch it inside of Canvas. So it's there living inside your course rather than sending them outside of your course to a link. You have everything in that same content page. All right, so with that, hopefully
There's
that
a question here, actually.
Yeah.
About how did you get to Canvas Studio?
Canvas Studio, we'll go to that now. That's the next switch that I wanted to make. So if everybody's good sort of thinking about content pages, and if I've given you some things that you can play with, what I'd like to do is move us towards Canvas, or Canvas Studio. So Canvas Studio is a tool that we have as part of our Canvas instance. You have multiple recording options inside of Canvas. So you can record yourself speaking, you can record your screen, you can bring videos over from YouTube. If you've downloaded a Zoom lecture that you did, you can upload that into Canvas Studio. So it's a really nice, robust way to bring together a lot of different tools. I find the captioning in Canvas Studio to be, for the most part, far more accurate than YouTube and better than Zoom. I do think that it's a good captioning tool. You can caption in multiple languages, not at the same time, I should say. So if you are a foreign language instructor and let's say you do a dialogue in Spanish, you can set Studio to recognize that you're speaking Spanish and provide captions for students who may need them. And then I also like that you have the option of embedding quizzes in videos. For my students in winter and then starting this spring, I created an orientation video and I have a quiz that they take as they go through the video, making sure that they understand the key parts of the course structure. And it's nice because it will send their scores straight over to my grade book. So to access Canvas Studio, I come back to this, you have two links that are available. One is in the course menu. And if you click here, it will show you what is available for this particular course, not your full library. So I had been playing with this video and putting it into the OE materials. This is the orientation video that I was talking about. So this shows as being in the library for this particular course. In the main navigation menu, this blue bar on the left-hand side, you have your full library. So you click into this, it gives you the full suite of videos that you've created or that you will create. The recording options are in the upper right-hand corner. So if you click on the record button, you have the option of doing a screen capture or a webcam capture. I almost always start with a screen capture. And here, I may need to switch my share so that you can see all of the elements. Excuse me, it just dawned on me. Here we go. So now you're seeing all the boxes I have open. I always start with a screen capture because within this option, you actually have the webcam capture option. If you choose webcam, it's just going to start recording what your webcam is showing. The screen capture, if I click on that, we'll open this little record box. So hopefully you're all seeing this in the lower left-hand corner of my screen. It should show you that you have the screen option. I can switch it and just record my webcam. So if I just want me talking to my students, webcam is great. Or I can choose to have both. So I can have my screen showing with me in a picture down at the bottom. The tool that is being used here is Screencast-O-Matic. And I'm going to say right off the bat that if you have used Screencast-O-Matic, you may find that it doesn't recognize your Citrus account, that the sync between Canvas and Citrus may not work very well. That happened to me. I had to uninstall Screencast-O-Matic from my computer and then access it again through Canvas Studio, and then everything worked fine. But that was just a little snag. So as you're playing with this today, if you run into that problem of saying that there's not an integration, it may be that you've already downloaded Screencast-O-Matic, and that's the issue that you're encountering. So this is one of the record options. You can also go to this add button and you can pull a video over from YouTube, or you can browse a file if you have your own media content that you've created. So there are multiple ways to bring video content into your class. And what you're looking at here is my library. I've done announcements where it's just me talking into a webcam. I've done video where I'm screencasting. I've pulled YouTube videos over. So I've got a mix of these different ways that I've created videos for students. When you see that little rocket ship icon in the corner of this particular video, it means that I've added a quiz. So this is one that I put into my classes and students take a quiz with. I can see that my chat is popping up and that there are some questions. So I want to just stop and make sure that we're getting those answered before I go too far.
I think we're all caught up. Thanks.
Are we? People are answering for me.
Except for Anna's question here, and Stephanie also. But Anna wants to know, can you please show us an example that is screen capture with webcam as well?
Sure.
I just wanted to see what it looks like, like where's your picture and what it looks like and so on,
And Martha has a question before that too, actually. I missed that, yeah. But let's see this first.
Yeah. So let's see. So it's dropping me in this lower right-hand corner of this video. And that's usually the default. It sort of puts you in that lower right. And you can pause and toggle your view so you can be in and out of the video. As far as some of the advanced tools, I don't know that you have access to all of the blurring and some of those premium features in Screencast-O-Matic, but you do have the ability when you're recording to use the draw tool. So some of those features are there.
And can you download that video onto your computer from Canvas?
Yes. So once I've gotten my video made, let's see, you have the little download button right here,
Got it.
and you can download that file. Once you have your captions, You can also download your caption file. So let's say you know that you want to house your video in Canvas Studio, but you also want to put it on YouTube. You can do your recording here, download the video, you can grab your caption file, and that way you have both parts of your video.
And how good are those captions, Senia?
I personally find that they're really accurate. I think they say that they're about 85%. I will always, no matter what tool I'm using, have to go back and check my name. Lubicic never comes out well when you're doing an auto caption. So there's always a few corrections to make. I tend to be sort of picky about the grammar. So I want to make sure that my pauses aren't captured as an end of a sentence. So I go through and I review them.
Does it work with foreign languages too?
It does. So when you create a video over here, and actually I'm going to have everybody play with this. When you come to captions, it gives you a list of languages that are spoken. So for example, if you did a dialogue or you did a reading, something you wanted students to listen to in Spanish, you would just select Spanish as the language that's spoken.
Can I choose 2 languages? Because sometimes I will use English.
Go back and forth. It only does one.
Okay.
And I think that's a problem across the board when you're doing auto captioning.
Right. Okay.
It's tricky to have a computer recognize both.
Sure.
But you'll always, once you've requested the captions, it will give you an option to review them before you publish them. And so you'll get this little button here that says review and publish, and you can go through and take a look and make sure that things are accurate. And then you hit publish and your captions are there. Similarly, if you've created a video somewhere else and you have the captions, you've got these language options for uploading your captions.
Awesome.
Senia, I have a quick question, and it was in regard to when it was way back, but my question got missed, and it was if you download like a YouTube link and you have it embedded, when you go to import that course the next semester to a new course, it will also transfer?
Right, so when you copy your course content over, it will pull these videos with it.
Oh, super. Okay.
So
Perfect.
it will pull them over. And I was going to say one of the things that's really nice about them is you can have comments. So it creates sort of its own internal discussion around the video. And let's say I'm watching this video and here at 3 minutes, I have a question. I can just add a comment here.
Got it.
And then say, wait, what? There were Black Mexicans, right? And so you have that there. And then students can answer, or I can go in and answer, but it'll show that there's a comment at that point in time and people can have discussions that build around them. Africa influences, he argues that that's me again. So I will just keep going. Yeah.
And then there was a question, I don't think you answered this, apologies if you did. Martha asked, can you pull videos from films on demand?
Not into Studio. I don't believe you can because, and I'm saying that, and I've not tried. I'll have to talk with Sarah Bosler about that. I don't know if our Films on Demand subscription is recognized by Canvas Studio, if that makes sense. It is in our Canvas instance because it's its own external tool, but it's sort of like you're trying to get 2 external tools talking to each other with Canvas and Films on Demand. So my knee-jerk reaction is no, that doesn't work. But I'll check with Sarah Bosler and see if she knows.
Okay, and then I think
question to file away.
Yes, and I think people missed it when you were showing how to get into Studio, but it's just on the left there on the bar.
Right down here, it looks like a little octopus with a play button for its head. So you have this right here. So what I wanted to show you as well is that you have the option to add a quiz. And so you can just, let's see if I grab a demo. If I want to create a quiz, I can just title it. And then it says get started. This is just a little demo of how to navigate inside. So I can start playing this video. And then if I want to stop, I get this little button and I can pick multiple choice, true or false, or multiple answer. So you can just add your question here. And then you save. You can also, well, you can provide feedback. You can choose if you want to vary the points. So if students get a correct answer, you can give them feedback. I usually just enter some general feedback. So it works for any answer. And then hit save. And you have a little quiz question that shows up in the video. Once you've got your quiz set, it will have that same little rocket ship up here in the top. And that will then be a reminder to you that you have a quiz inside of that video. But before we get into some of those embedding tools, I really wanted to give everybody just a quick chance to try to get to Canvas and to play with Canvas a little bit. What I had envisioned doing was sending you all to a breakout room of your own and just let you open this up, run it on your computer, see how it works, and then pull you back. So if that sounds all right, I will give you about 5 minutes to do that. And I'm going to, let's see, create those breakout rooms. I'm going to open them. So I would love for you to do is play with that, see how it works, and then we'll come back and see what questions came up.
You got a big crowd.
Yeah. Thank you for the help with the questions.
I think I've missed a few, but
I'm terrible keeping track of multiple frames on my screen. So I think
yeah,
it stresses me
hard.
out.
Hey, what did you use to make your slides?
I used Canva.
Okay.
I've been having a lot of fun with Canva. They've got some great things. I haven't committed yet to paying for the pro account.
I think as an educator, it's free.
It is for K through 12.
Okay. We're using it in counseling somehow.
Oh, okay. It's
But,
funny how different departments will buy accounts.
Yeah.
So.
But my thing is, I was using that and I made a flyer for the Men of Color conference that they asked me to make. And then it got rejected because it wasn't accessible. And then I went into,
accessibility is tricky with Canva.
yeah. And then I went into Acrobat and tried to like change the accessibility issues and it wouldn't recognize the text. And then I like contacted them and they got back to me. And I think it's just not accessible. Like there's no way for, how are you doing that? Is there a way to have Acrobat recognized?
I haven't used it in my classes except as an image banner. So right. I sort of brand my different pages. Like this is an assignment page. This is, so then I can add an alt text when I upload it as a picture. So but I haven't used it for a presentation with my students yet.
If we're just using it to upload to like our mobile app, is that considered, are we compliant if it's including the text above the image? Like all the text is listed above the image that's in the image?
You know, that's a good question. The thing that I use for checking a page, like if you're putting it on a mobile app, is Wave Accessibility Checker. Mm-hmm. And so the Wave, let's see, will go through and tell you if it's accessible or not. Okay.
I was using Acrobat and it's just like, nope.
Yeah, that's a tricky one. I mean, all PDF Acrobats is tricky.
Yeah.
Hey, Sonia, it's Mike Hillman.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, I got put into a chat room by myself, our breakout room.
That was the plan.
Oh, got it.
You could open things up and not have to worry about anybody hearing or seeing what you were doing.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
If you wanted to play, it's just your own space.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Diane just texted me, said, I'm in a room by myself too.
Yeah, it was
Bad
a
children.
solo room, so you could speak and record and not have everybody watching you do it.
Got it.
I like your picture, Mike. That's
It's a little bit old, huh?
what? How long ago is that? I mean,
You know what? I don't even know what picture it is.
looks good though. Good picture. I gotta get a new one. Mine sucks.
Thanks.
Okay.
Hey, Sani, I have a question.
Yeah.
So I tried to do a screen capture and it told me to download the app or whatever, and I did.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went back and tried to do a screen capture and it kept telling me to download the app, but I had already
Downloaded it. So had you used Screencast-O-Matic before?
No.
Okay. Usually it does that because that was my first experience with Studio, and I had been using Screencast-O-Matic, so I had already installed some plugin, and I had to go in and search for that and remove it from my computer, and then it did that whole download the app, run it, and then it worked fine for me. So we may have to help you troubleshoot.
Okay.
Outside of that. Arish, did you have a question?
Yes, I do. Is there any way you could add animation to studios when you're speaking? Or is
I use different editing tools. I know that in the more advanced form of Screencast-O-Matic, and I think that's what Stephanie was getting to, where you can have little call outs that you can add those. I haven't played with the editing features inside Screencast-O-Matic as much. I have been doing a lot more with Camtasia. So I've been using a different editing program where I can put those call outs and animations. So that is something that we may have to play with more. What I'm going to post into the chat for all of you is a link to a YouTube video that I made that just goes back over some of the tools that are available in Studio. I'm calling it my Quick Start Studio video. So if you want to grab that so that you have it for future reference, it's there for you. And hopefully it goes back over some of the tools that you can use when you're working inside of Studio. I wanted to make sure, just because the question was raised earlier, about how you then, once you've got your videos, how do you embed them? So, for example, this is my homepage. So we're back in that OE materials course. Again, to get a welcome page, I had chosen that students would land on a front page that I create in Pages. So that's where we started today, creating a content page. And then if we want to add a video from Canvas Studio, so we're gonna come down here. You go back to that external tool button. You'll click here. And now that I've used YouTube recently, it's showing up as one of my favorites. But if I click on Canvas Studio, it will open my library. And let's say I just want to select my, my introductory video, introducing students to me. I can choose if I want to have comments, or I can turn that off and it will just put the video. So if I don't want to spark discussion around this, then I can leave comments off. If you leave them on, you get that bar at the bottom where students can put a comment in at a certain point, and there can be some threaded discussion around that. And then you click embed. And the video will show up down at the bottom of the page or wherever you've chosen to place it. As students access this page, you'll have a chance to see insights. So it will tell you who is enrolled in that course. And as they watch the video, it will tell you how much they watched. It tells you if they stopped, if they skipped around. So you can sort of see all viewers, or you can look by a particular student. So for example, if I had opened up African influences on the Olmecs, I can go in maybe after the discussion and say, wow, this person didn't contribute at all. Did they watch the video? I can go back and I can see if they've actually watched the content ahead of class or not. So it's sort of interesting. I use it really just to see at what point generally students check out, and then I try to keep my videos that short. If I lose them after 4 minutes, then I'm going to try to create a bunch of little 4-minute videos and see if I can keep them engaged. If I wanted to add a video that had a quiz, and I wanted it to be added as an assignment, the process is a little bit different. And I had set up a page for that as well. So part of the reason that the student video showed up is I came here to an assignment. So this is not a content page. This is actually creating an assignment. And what you can do here is provide an introduction. So this is a following video, answer the quiz questions correctly. There's no time limit. You have unlimited attempts. This is just course orientation. I want them to understand how the course is structured. When I made the quiz, I made 9 questions and it's worth 9 points. And here is where you add in what you want. For your submission type, you're not adding a quiz, you're adding an external tool. So you click that. You'll come over to Canvas Studio. And it opens up your library again. This is my video orientation that has the quiz. So I select this quiz. If I do standard embed, students are just going to see the video. But if I do video quiz embed, then it pulls the orientation quiz that I've created. So I would click embed, select, and then you can set your dates. You can have students just have 1 attempt with the orientation. I don't care, so I want them to just understand and get it until they get it right. I can set a due date and an availability date, and then you click save. And the video will play here. And again, you have all of the same functions. You can see who's watched the video. You can manage your captions. And then once quizzes have been done, you can look at the quiz by item. So I can look and see which questions students missed the most, or I can look at individual student results. So I can see the student's name, how many times they tried the quiz, what their score was, how much time they spent, and so forth. And then because this is an assignment and you've embedded it, it will go to your grade book. And you'll be able to see the course orientation video. And as students take that quiz, the points will populate in your grade book.
Can you just take the animations, save them as an MPEG-4, and then put them into the studio?
Say that again, it was a little hard to hear.
Can you just, when we do animations, we have the ability to save them as MPEG-4s, right?
Yes.
And then put that in studio, so you got the animation automatically.
Absolutely, you're right. When that earlier question came up, I was thinking about the functionality inside Screencast-O-Matic, but you're absolutely right. If you have any MP4 file, you can upload that in. So if you have an animation, you can create access to it in Studio that way.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sometimes you get those blinders as you're just thinking about what's in front of you. So that was helpful.
I'm an animator, okay?
I know. I'm so grateful for
I'm a
animators.
Disney animator, how's that? Excellent.
All right, so it's a lot of stuff that we've covered.
Senia, I have a question. I've been going, when you showed me the insight feature, I went to all my videos and pressed insight, and nobody's seen my videos. And I know that's not true because students have commented on my videos. So is it because it's an old course, or and that's been deleted, or?
Usually we don't keep the student content in a course shell once that course is concluded. So things like your grade book or insights may be wiped. So that may be why you're not seeing it. You also need to make sure, did you access the video from inside the actual course?
No, I went to Studios.
Okay, so Studio won't show you any of that data if you're coming over here, because this is just your library. You would need to look at the course, the video inside that actual course.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've missed the how you did that. Can you please show that again?
So once you've added a video inside of a course, then it is assigned to this class. So if I click here on Studio, these are the videos that live inside this particular shell. So anytime I want to come in and see data, I would look for insights here, and it would show me who the students are that are enrolled in this class. When you come over to the main navigation menu and look at Studio here, this is just your video unassigned to any class. So it won't show you user data.
Okay.
Does that difference make sense?
Yes, no, I was clicking on the general studio, not on my shell studio. So thank you for that.
Yeah, so if you're inside the course, then you get access to who has watched it. And I see a question from Ralph about quizzes. The video does not need to be in a course. So this is my main library. So I just clicked into Studio from the main navigation bar. I know that I'm going to use this world history orientation video in multiple sections. So I created the quiz here. And now anytime I pull this video over, the quiz can travel with it.
There's a few questions in there. Patty wants to know about if you would make a content page, please, which I think we.
That was at the very beginning.
At the beginning, yeah.
And so just to go back sort of to the structure that you have in Canvas, their vision is that everything is organized inside of modules. So this is how students would access the course. If I were to switch this into student view, if a student logged into this course, this would be all that they would see. They wouldn't see all of the other options. So the only way they could access content is by going to modules. And then inside modules, these are all content pages. As an instructor, you have full edit ability. So you can go to pages anytime. And you can create new pages by clicking add page. So here is where you would title your page. And then you can edit or copy and paste content into this page. And then once you're done, you can either save your work if you're planning to come back to it, or you can publish it, which makes it visible to students. But again, one of the things that I was trying to show in this next level Canvas is the benefits of building content pages just as a way to introduce your students to your course or to particular content, to house things in a way that is accessible and user-friendly for them.
Senia, can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been using Studio?
Studio was made available to us over the summer. So I started playing with it. I did a training in August. So I did a little bit of making videos during the fall, but really jumped into it over winter.
And how much do you find yourself using it now?
All the time.
I say it's amazing.
Yeah, I rarely make anything that I don't also put in studio or vice versa.
I mean, I even want to bring things that you created maybe in YouTube and bring them through Studio, because then it gives you that feature to be able to ask the questions or to be able to monitor who watches and for how long. I mean, it almost makes me want to change all the videos that I have in there now and turn them into Studio videos and
I would say, Anna, that it's really actually so easy to do that. I had a lot of videos in YouTube. So I just pulled the link from YouTube over. I pulled down my captions from YouTube. So I had it literally in place in Studio in a matter of minutes. And then I just went and I used the comment feature in the course, and I added questions that I wanted students to answer in that comment section. So rather than making a quiz, I just had a video, and I would say, you know, what were the 3 factors that we should be considering and thinking about conquest in the Americas? And students would type in.
It's kind of a game changer, isn't it?
I really feel like it is. I love Studio. I love how easy it is to use. I would love to get more faculty creating things with Studio.
Who do you do with, if you don't mind me asking, who do you do your training with?
So that's, I'm so glad you brought that up. There's a self-paced, it takes about an hour to go through that the California Virtual Campus provides. If you would like to really see all the ins and outs of Studio,
yes,
send me an email and I'll send you I'll sign you up for that. You'll get a link at Bridge.
That'd be great. Okay, good. Thank you.
And then there's a few more questions in the chat if you're ready.
I just don't type and talk, unfortunately, at the same time.
Yes.
I can walk and shoot down, but that's about it.
Yeah.
And Lori, you're correct. Not every campus pulled Studio when it was made available. We did, and so it doesn't go from campus to campus, which is really miserable. I think the adjunct life in the virtual world is beyond a juggling plate spinning existence. It's very tricky. Let's see. And then this recording will be posted, I think, as soon as the Fly committee can get things together. That is not in my hands, but I'll be sharing the recording link with them. And then I see, Gordon, what do you do if you've got a class that you haven't taught yet and there's no Canvas shell? You can get a free account through Instructure. So you can, it's what I do. I have all of these shells where I play and build things, and then I pass them to my Citrus account through the Canvas Commons. We don't create a lot of empty shells like sandboxes in our own instance because we try to preserve memory for the courses that are active. And so it's a more cumbersome process to get access to a shell outside of the semester. So that free account is sort of my holding tank. And then when shells become available, I already have access to my summer. We've been really trying that as soon as the schedule is active to give faculty access to their shells. And so I apologize, there's not an easy answer for that. But that free account has been my go-to. Let's see.
What? I have a question.
Yeah, Patty.
Once you put it into Commons, that means everybody in Canvas can see it?
No, you can keep it just for yourself. I do when I'm uploading something into Canvas, you can share just with our campus, you can just share with certain people, or you can mark it private.
That's when I bring my sandbox in the Commons.
Yeah, so when you're using Commons, if you want your things just to be available to you, just mark it as private, and then it's only available to you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And then I see making a quiz inside the video for Studio from the main library. I was going to give everybody a little thank you for logging in and joining us today. Get out of presenter mode and I'll come back here. From the main library, Eleanor, on any video If you, I always call them breadcrumbs, those 3 dots. It says create quiz. You just click on that and it will create a quiz for that video. And then once you've added a video to a course, Anna, that's where I add the comments. When you're looking at a video here in Studio, you can add comments here, and they would, and then in theory, travel to any course. So let's say you knew you wanted to have prompting questions, you can add comments here and they will come with the video to your class. Student comments will only stay within the course where the video is assigned.
But when you add comments, does that mean then that students can comment themselves too?
Right. So if I add a comment here at that point, then there's a little flag. And when students get to that point in the video, it'll prompt them that there's a comment there and that they can answer as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So let's see. When you lock the assignment page, no, Mike, if you lock the assignment page, if you take it out of view for students, it will not lock assignments in the module. It just directs students to the module. So I keep everything in modules. And the reason that I do that is if you make assignments available, students will go straight to the assignment. They may not ever look at your content. So by putting things in a module and having students work through the content to get to the assignment, I at least have a sense that they've clicked through pages and seen things that might help them with the assignment. So modules, I really keep my menu very simple because I want students to access everything through modules. And I reach sort of to that same point. Putting things in announcements does limit the richness of your interaction with those videos. So I think you're better off building things as a content page because that's actually something that's going to register student activity more than announcements do, if that makes sense.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well.
Good job.
Can I have a quick question? A
Sure.
follow-up? Thank you for going over how to make the quiz once the video is placed in the studio. But I pulled a video that I had made. It's on my desktop using Screencast-O-Matic, and I put it into Studio. But when I click on the breadcrumbs, I'm only seeing replace thumbnail and delete media. So I'm not seeing the option to make a quiz. So I was wondering, do you know what I'm doing wrong? Like what's preventing me from seeing that option?
I'm wondering if, did you just pull that video up?
I just like uploaded a video from my desktop that I already have made using Screencast-O-Matic. That's in my course, but I just kind of was playing around with Studio in the breakout room. So I put it in, it's in my Studio in my library, but when I do the breadcrumbs, the quiz option is not there.
Let me see. What happens with other films? I've not, that's funny. It may just need some more time to process because I'm looking at a video that I pulled over from YouTube and I'm able to add a quiz to that. So I'm wondering.
I was kind of fiddling around with the captions and stuff. So I requested captions to see how that would look. Is it because I've requested captions that it's not yet able to make a quiz because it has to
It may have to finish processing that one piece before it goes on to the next. So I would give it a little time to see if the captions come through.
Okay.
And then see if that opens up. If it doesn't, send me a message and we'll troubleshoot.
All right.
See what we can get.
Thank you.
Yeah. Patty, what content are you noticing in the app that's not available?
When we bring in videos, my students have to submit videos and documents of their work, the things that they're doing at the time. And some of the videos and Word docs don't come through on the phone.
And that, again, is part of the reason why a content page helps with that. Studio is available in the app That was one of the questions that came up in our last Introduction to Online Teaching and
But
Learning.
the students don't have access to Studio.
They do. All students have access to Studio. So I had shared a link to a video for faculty. I created one for students who might need to do an assignment, a presentation. But in the apps, if they are literally working from their cell phone, if they record a video on their phone, Canvas Studio will tap into their library on their phone and pull the video. So they can use Canvas Studio from their smartphone or from their computer, but they have the same tools for the most part that we do as faculty. They
Where
can
is it gonna send it for me?
Hmm?
They have to send them to me.
Right, you could create an assignment where they submit a video and they can use
Every day they're submitting videos, every single day. They have to submit 3 to 5 videos.
So let me share a link with you in the chat. Let's see. So I created just another quick start video for students. Take a look at that, Patty, and it should show you how students can use Canvas Studio for assignments. If you literally are having students show you or demonstrate a skill every day, they can use Canvas Studio to send that to you.
Yeah, every day. They have to send videos every day.
So take a look. I just put a link in the chat.
Okay, I saved it.
And I think that might be a really good solution for you because you can build it as an assignment, which should make grading easier for you. You wouldn't have to open and look at all of these separate files. Canvas would organize it for you in SpeedGrader.
Okay, but will I be able to see the actual video in SpeedGrader?
Yep, and when you're watching the video, if the student needs a correction, you can just type a comment at that particular point and it'll flag it and say, for example, right here, you should have your right hand over your left hand or vice versa. You can literally correct them as they're going. The same for foreign language. If a student is mispronouncing a word consistently, you can put a comment at that point and say, it's not por, it's para, right? You can literally add a correction as they're watching the video. So it's a really, I think, fantastic and robust way to interact with students on skills that they need to practice.
That's amazing.
I really, again, like I said, I have the total salesman cap on. You may find me when we have conventions again, working the Canvas Studio table and just saying, yes, you want this. This is wonderful. So
excellent.
But please do, if you guys are interested in that self-paced course, send me an email and I'll get you logged in so that you can work through. And they really take you through the ins and outs of the different files and how you can edit and so forth. And it's about an hour to go through all of the content, but then you have this wonderful resource guide available to you. And I still go back and consult that when I have questions.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. Well, we have powered through a lot, and Rob, I've not forgotten that you wanted to show me your welcome page.
I was just trying to embed a video and then copy it to one page. I don't copy a whole class, so I was just trying to do specific content, and I wasn't able to find a photo that I had uploaded. So I'm video. I'm pretty sure mine works. It's just the way that I did it.
Yeah.
But I'd have to screen share, so I'm
happy to make that so you can share your screen if you'd like.
Really busy and doing something else in the same course. That's fine. I'll get it. Trying
right.
to. I'm messing with things instead of asking. I'm just trying.
No, and I intended for people to be online trying things as I talked through things. I'm going to go ahead and stop our recording.